Oh, welcome back. I have now completed the leaves here. I've put in a few more leaves and other plant life, I guess. So what I'm going to do in this video, I want to show you how I paint one of these berries. So I got a berry here. Now in the photograph, there's just one berry here. I've decided to put in another one, just make it more interesting, I think. So what I will do is I will paint the berries, and then I want to show you how I do this. Remember in a previous video I painted on some masking fluid, so I want to show you how I could paint around this and then take it off, and we'll see if it works out. Hopefully it will work out just fine. So I will begin by painting the berries. What I do for painting the berries, the first step is to, for me, is to paint the outline of, so the perimeter of the berries, I will begin by painting that. And the reason I do that is it helps me keep track of where it is. Now you wonder why I would do that and not paint the berry first. It has to do with blending, and I will explain that a bit later. So what I'm doing is I'm going to just go around the berry. I have it sketched out, so I know where the berry ends here. But I want to just paint in the background of the berry. And I know from my photograph that this is just twigs and leaves and stuff, so I don't have to worry too much about getting all that perfectly painted in there. So I'm going to paint around the perimeter here. And I'll pick up on that later. So once I get the rest of the berry. So underneath now I'm doing a shadow outline here. And I know from my painting that there's a leaf really close to this berry. So I'm going to just outline that, which I have partly painted in there, but I want to keep a little bit of distance there. And the same for this one. I'm using Payne's Gray and Black mix. Just going to make sure I maintain some of that. And again, I'm just filling in here. And for where I have it masked off, I don't need to worry too much. Okay, so once I get the perimeter done, I'm going to also fill in this spot here with a really dark green. So I think there are leaves behind here. So now when I want to get it lighter, I just sponge it off. It gives a nice blended look. So now we'll paint the berry. We'll make sure that this is as dry as we possibly can get it here. So we'll wait for a few minutes. While we're waiting for this to dry, I'm going to work on this area here. So again, I pick up some, this is a mix now of black, Payne's Gray, and Perylene Green. I want to get some really dark colors in here. So what I'm going to do for most of this is negative painting. So you can see I already started with some here. I get my brush, and what I try to do is carry on with this line. So here, make sure that these carry down here. This just takes practice. So I'm imagining this twig here going down underneath this one. And on this side, I will do, now I've looked at my photograph already, and I know that there's not much in here, only these types of twigs, so I'm not worrying about getting a leaf or anything in there. Although I could put one in later if I feel it would be appropriate or interesting. worried about getting it perfect because these are going to be pretty dark when they're done. Just sort of a blended in background, that's all. And I'll show you a technique soon about how to make this more texture or look like there's more twigs in there than what you're painting in now. We can do that. Especially really thin ones. There's a good way to put some in there if you don't want them totally light, like if they're shaded. And we just do that by lifting, actually. So I look at my photo and I know there's a light spot here, so I'll mark that. There's a few leaves here. So what I'll do is sort of do the outline. So this twig here I'm achieving by negative painting, and the others I'm doing it with the masking fluid. I mentioned in an earlier video that I shy away a little bit from the masking fluid because of some of the problems I've had with it. Consequently, I've had to come up with ways of achieving this sort of effect without using masking fluid, and mostly by negative painting or lifting. I can achieve nearly anything I need to by those two techniques.